mentioned rum. Was it true that drinking the rum was your choice and not the colonizers?
Well, since they hardly gave us any food or water to begin with, we took whatever we could from them.
So you chose to drink the rum?
Well, they would give us the rum and told us to drink it.
It's a yes or no question.
Objection. Yes. Was it my choice?
Yes or no?
Well, there's not really like a specific yes or no. Because it was only what they gave us, so we really didn't have a choice.
Okay. Did your being enslaved calm your violent community?
Well, we were pretty, not really, no. Because we were working for them a lot, but whenever we would try to escape, it was pretty much every man for themselves. We didn't really think about anyone else when we were trying to escape.
And how much time during the day while you were enslaved by these people did you have free time? Like, how much of the day did you have free time that you could have played these quote-unquote violent games?
Well, hardly any. We only had time to sleep, but we didn't still play the violent games when we were enslaved because we were too busy working. But I said when we tried to escape, we would be violent with each other still.
And how often did you try to escape?
Not very often because people saw that they could risk getting killed or badly injured as I have been.
Would you blame the whole world for your enslavement?
Yes.
How did Athens positively affect world history?
Well, Athens was known for its love of wisdom, so we gave the world a new way to think positively by giving philosophies, such as the ones of many known philosophers.
And if Athens was such a brilliant society, why did it go to war with Sparta?
Well, we didn't plan on starting the war with Sparta. It all started after we defeated Persia, and Athens decided to start an alliance known as the Delian League. After these two events, Sparta feared the growing Athenian empire. We Athenians didn't want to start, but because probably of the growing fear, Sparta had of us. That's where it all escalated.
In Athens, what was women's role in society?
Well, we had little rights, but we were allowed to be in religious practices and festivals. And mainly, we were what held households together. So we did the chores, and just knowing that we helped out our family made us feel good.
And how would you describe Athens? Peaceful or violent?
Peaceful, of course. We focused mostly on the arts, unlike Sparta, who focused on training up military-wise. And we tried our best to not be a burden on anybody else.
And you mentioned that Sparta, your neighboring city-state, was a more militaristic city-state.
Yes.
And they even helped you in a war against Persia, did they not?
Yes, they did.
And do you feel that even though they're militaristic, do you feel that they're evil?
No. I think it was a way of how they handled things.
So you're saying if you owed a debt or you're a prisoner of war, you were no longer counted as a human, now you were counted as a slave. Just because you covered debt or
I wouldn't say you weren't counted as a human, but yes, you would be a slave.
And how were these slaves treated?
They were treated minimally fair. You were able to either work in the fields or in the household.
Okay. And would you say that Sparta is your rival in a sense?
Not mainly. Sometimes it's just the way that they think that we don't get along mostly.
So why was there so many battles going on between you and Sparta?
Because of Sparta's of opposites. Athens thought of arts, Sparta thought of being very militaristic. Of course, they'll be Spartan.
Could you tell me about Socrates?
Socrates, yes. A very good man. He gave us many words that we were able to think about.
And then what happened to him?
And then he was killed. No, he was actually dead.
not from what I recall. He was forced to drink poison by the Athenian government because he wanted to stand out.
Would you please tell the court about yourself and why you became a peacekeeper?
Well, my name is Kevin Fisher, and I've always been interested in helping other people, and especially growing up during the Cold War. It was really frightening to see the events that were going on, and I figured the UN would be a very good organization to work for.
Mr. Fisher, can you please tell us what your general objectives are while on the job?
Yes. As peacekeepers, we monitor and observe peace processes in post-conflict countries and make sure everything goes according to plan, if there are any treaties were signed. So we mainly monitor, or we may also provide social and economic development and support.
Who authorizes peacekeeping, Mr. Fisher?
Well, in the UN Security Council has the authority and power, responsibility to take collective action when needed to sustain peace. This means that the international community sort of looks at the Security Council for peace operations.
Since the creation of the United States in 1945, what is the overall effect? What is the overall effect on the globalized world?
Sorry, did you mean the UN? The creation of the UN?
The creation of the UN.
Well, the world has become more of a sort of community where problems are addressed internationally. It's not, people are not only concerned with their local problems, they're also concerned about foreign problems that occur outside the world.
Mr. Fisher, how would the world look like today if the United Nations were absent?
Well, obviously it's impossible to tell exactly how the world would look like today without the UN. However, it's very clear that the UN plays a huge role in peacekeeping efforts, and that issues, don't get me wrong, issues are still exist today, but they would be much more prevalent if the UN would not exist.
Mr. Fisher, being of the UN, you'd say you'd probably know a lot of its history, wouldn't you?
I know somewhat, although I work more for these efforts. I don't study its history.
Okay, all right. What do you think about warlords still being in power in Somalia with the UN, even with the UN's involvement?
Well, I mean, we have to look at the situation as a whole. If the UN felt that that was the best way to resolve the conflict, I mean, the conflict may not be resolved, but if the attempt was that was the best way to resolve the conflict, then...
So, do you think that it's all right that warlords that are being corrupt with unequal food distribution, oppression of the people, you think that's all right? That's the best way to solve conflict?
As I stated before, I'm not exactly aware of the situation there right now, or as you stated in the 1990s, I think it was. But it could be worse. We don't know. And again, the UN tries to assess the best solution. However, they're not perfect. They may not find the best solution.
So in case of Saddam Hussein, the UN was not able to get him out of power while he's still being able to kill a bunch of his countrymen. Why is that?
Well, it's required a massive effort, and to keep peace, I know sometimes you have to fight, but that's generally not where you want to go. And you have to find a balance between fighting to keep peace and just diplomatic relations to keep peace, and it's not always that easy. So,
would you please tell the court your name and something about yourself, Akbar?
My name is Akbar, and I ruled over the Mughal Empire from the time my father died when I was 13 to 1605 when I died.
And tell us about the changes you made while you were the ruler of the Mughal Empire. Did these innovations have a positive or negative effect?
I would say that most, if not all, of my actions were beneficial. My first act as an emperor was to eliminate the military threats from Sher Shah's Afghan dynasty, and it was something that ailed the empire under my father's rule, and I wanted to rid the Mughal Empire of their threats, so I led an army against them. However, Pax Mughalica was one of the most peaceful times in India's history, and I established a sound bureaucracy and put military governors in charge of each region, which centralized India. However, I did not tolerate inhumane actions such as corruption, and whoever abused their power or mistreated the poor or weak was punished.